super chat. Says, the Jets are the definition of Murphy's Law. Please draft a tackle in round 1. The need to protect Aaron slightly outweighs our need for a wide receiver. So that is the PTSD side of Jet fans for sure, because when I look at how our offensive line has performed and been injured the last few years, it has been a statistical anomaly. And is this just going to continue to be a statistical anomaly year over year? Right now, we have a left tackle who hasn't played a full season since 2015, but in the 7 playoff appearances that the Cowboys have made, Tyron Smith has played in every single game. So he has been healthy when it matters most. On the other side, you got Morgan Moses, who has been healthy 95% of every single season up until last year, where he played 76 or 73% of the games, I think is what it was. And he played through like a torn pec the entire year. Like, the dude's an Iron Man. Like, if you're talking about like feeling kind of comfortable with your offensive line, like, this should be kind of it. And then Carter Warren, you know they like him. They thought he could have been drafted higher were it not for the injury. And for me, Carter Warren in spot fill-in opportunities for Tyron Smith, if it's 3-4 games throughout the course of a season sprinkled in, I'm okay with that. I could totally live with that on that side. But it's the, what does AVT look like after the Achilles?
Yeah.
Does Tyron Smith go down in a critical moment? Can this guard tackle, maybe it's a Fontenot, can he push Morgan Moses to be a better starter or supplant him? It's only a $5.5 million contract for Moses. Could John Simpson be pushed harder at left guard, or could Fontenot play left guard instead? So there is a ton of things that make sense for offensive line in this draft. You can say, hey, if someone gets hurt, at least, like, if God forbid Brees gets hurt, you still need to keep Aaron Rodgers upright, even more so without a running game. So, like, I get the idea with the tackle. I just want to go weapon. I'm Odunze all the way if I can get him. If Odunze's there at 10, I'm running the card up to the table, and I won't even think twice about it. Matt, what are your thoughts? Has it changed at all, offensive lineman in the first?
No, I think you can make a very strong case to go offensive line in the first round. And if it's, Fontenot, who you mentioned, like, I think he could play over John Simpson. Honestly, I really do. I think he would fight for that spot at left guard and then kick out to tackle when Tyron Smith gets hurt, because it's unfortunate. Like, he is going to, he gets hurt every single year. You're probably happy if he plays 13 games, which, I'll take 13 games from Tyron Smith, but you need to have a really good backup plan. It depends on how they feel about Carter Warren. They may they might like him a lot. It seems like they do. It'd be nice to see him have like a full off season in a training camp and not be injured. But I get those who are nervous about the offensive line health and want to go offensive line in the first round. I think it's a logical choice, just as much as a weapon is also a logical choice. I think you can make a really good argument for either one of those. So as long as they're coming away with something on offense, I think I'll be pretty happy on draft night.
Greenby, what about you? How are you feeling about offensive line in the first round?
I'm not going to be upset if they go, like, if Odunze's there, if they say we can't pass up on Odunze. Okay, I'm fine with that. I'm excited. I'm in. Technically speaking, as it stands right now, wide receiver is a greater need than offensive line. The problem I have with that is that the offensive line ability, positionally, the ability to get a guy that's going to come in and be able to start in the event something happens that's very Jets-like in the first quarter of the season, is really diminished after that first group of tackles go. So we're getting our choice of one of the top tackles, or if Odunze, really Brian Thomas Jr. is, or you can make a case for A.D. Mitchell. That's kind of the end of that top tier of wide receivers. But when you start looking in the third round, the wide receivers that you can get there are much more likely to come in and make an immediate impact than the tackles that are going to be there. So it's concerning to me. I'm with Jason. I think if I have to put my money on something helping the team this year, looking at our history over the past decade and seeing what our issue is, and then taking an objective look at who we have, while on paper, if healthy, best offensive line we've had in a long time. Problem is, 3 of them have been injured. Tippmann a couple games, but AVT significant. We lost him for the last 2 seasons. As we know, Tyron Smith averages 8 games over the past 9 or 10 years. Morgan Moses has just had shoulder surgery. So, like, we're really messing around. I say, what is the most important thing to this team this year? It's Aaron Rodgers. The most important aspect of Aaron Rodgers to do anything is he's got to be on his feet and not running around for his life. The receivers, he can make good receivers look great. Conklin, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Mike Williams, if we get a Malik Washington or a Malachi Corley, one of those guys, we're going to be fine. Whereas if we don't draft a tackle in the first and we take Odunze and we're waiting until the third and we're getting what's the kid from Notre Dame? His name is
Blake Fisher.
Yeah, like somebody like that, who I think is going to have himself a good career. I think first year is not the year that you want to be depending on him to keep Aaron Rodgers standing on his feet. So, like, I just think it's too risky. Job one is Aaron Rodgers. Priority is Aaron Rodgers. All of our eggs are in the Aaron Rodgers basket. The number one thing that has to happen is he's got to be able to drop back and release the ball without getting killed. And in order to do that, we need to put all of our resources into that job, which is offensive line. So that's the way that's the way I would lean. So there it is.
So according to Dom C, 𝐀𝐮𝐫𝐤𝐢𝐧, the tackle from Yale, however you say his last name, has a top 30 visit with the New York Jets. And right now, across his big board rankings, I'll rattle these off. PFF has him at 57. Draft Tech 61, NFL.com 63, Draft Buzz 65, The Athletic 65, MDDB has him 74, Draft Net 82, ESPN 90, NBC Sports 94, Fox Sports 96. So if I'm looking at top 30 visits that kind of pique my interest, it's 100% that particular tackle out of Yale. And that tells me that the Jets are poking around and think he's a little bit more interesting. I believe Zaire Barnes, according to Dom C, and JBC were both top 30 visits last year as well. So something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Jets doing some recon in some of the mid-rounds.
They also got Brendan Rice and
sure.
And Roman
Odunze, there's Max Melton.
But I'm talking about that range. You know what I mean? Like we're talking about the 60s to 70s. You got Roman Wilson. You got Brendan Rice. Who else we got here for a wide receiver? Okay, Odunze. He's going to Malik Neeb. Nope.
Troy Franklin's going to go earlier.
Right? So what we have
there's pivot options. I think that's what it is. Like if Odunze is not there, maybe they go O-line early and then they pivot to a Brendan Rice. If they go Odunze early, they might pivot to a 𝐀𝐮𝐫𝐤𝐢𝐧, however you say his name.
What's up, guys? Matt O'Leary from Talkin' Jets. If you liked that video, please make sure to subscribe and follow for more New York Jets content.